Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal 101 on transfer deadline day. We've arrived, the end of the January transfer window. Arsenal have done some significant business already through the month, which is ideal. But as always, we've got some deals which are mulling as the last few hours of the window are upon us. I'm joined by AFC Nilmis. Nilmis, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been pleasantly surprised today on how much business we've been doing in terms of outgoings as well. So I'm surprised, but I'm happy. But besides that, I am doing great. What about yourself? Have you enjoyed today?
Yeah, so as you always do, you start the day and you think, look, can Arsenal do some business early?
Mhm.
Welcome to Ebony. How you doing, Ebony?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah,
I'm
we're
good.
good. So I was just saying, you start the morning and you're like, okay, here we go, transfer
Yep.
deadline day. It's one of those where you think, can we just do a couple of bits and pieces early doors in the morning so that we can get all of that, rubbish out of the way, and then we can just
Mm.
sit down and put our feet up for the rest of the evening, hoping that we can pull off something significant. But yeah, no, I mean, it's one of them. I've been pleasantly surprised that, we've done our business earlier in the month rather than waiting and trying to sneak all the deals through on the last day. So
Yeah.
I'm quite pleased with the addition of Ostergaard, Matt Ryan. We've obviously brought a young kid in at the beginning of the month, the 19-year-old centre back Rekic.
Yeah.
Um, and then to see the business that took place of players leaving, Ozil, Socrates, Kolasinac, all done nice and early. So we can just sit back now and, really just tinker. So we've done one bit of business today, as far as I'm aware, which is Joe Willock has secured a move on loan to
We've
Newcastle.
done We've done several. Joe Willock to Newcastle. Squadron Mustafi is gone. He's to Schalke.
Okay.
Um, there was it.
Hallelujah.
There was it. I've just was it read that Maitland Niles is now confirmed going to West Brom. So I think if it's not confirmed now, it should be confirmed very soon. So
Okay.
in terms of outgoings, Arsenal have done a lot more than what I expected. I mean, all it's missing now is for like Reece Nelson to go out on loan, maybe even Eddie and Ketia. I know no one's really talked about him, but I think he
Mm,
needs some games as well. But I think these are good loans. So
yeah.
I hats off to Arsenal for kind of
I kind of think we have to keep Nketiah because you don't want to be less than three strikers deep. I know Martinelli is coming back, but
yeah,
essentially our three strikers are Nketiah, Lacazette, and Aubameyang.
it's true.
Martinelli is really a winger stroke striker, so I'm kind of feeling you have to keep him. You know, if anything, the one that I would have thought that we might have looked at, which is a problem, and I think we're going to get into this in a big way, is
Yeah.
Balogun.
Oh,
So that
I
that
think we
that
should keep
really
him.
is. Well, yeah, I agree, but this is a big issue because quite clearly he's now going to be in the last 6 months of his contract with Arsenal. So we've got some big
yeah.
decisions to make.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy that the ones that we needed to get rid of have gotten rid of. Mustafi being one. He's just not good enough. I think I read somewhere that because he's going to Schalke, that he is going to he's quite good to continue the losing run because he's that bad. Um, he is that bad. Who was it that said that? I think Paul Merson said that. Or if that's wrong, I hold my hands up. Um, yeah, who else has gone? Willock, yeah, okay, I understand that he needs some game time.
Yeah.
Um, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I don't know why we couldn't keep him. as a
Yeah,
utility
so
player.
that one's not confirmed as yet. But is he?
I
Is
can
he?
see him going actually because I mean he looks frustrated to be fair, and
Yeah,
he also needs game
I'm
time.
a bit baffled by that one, in all honesty, because he is such a good utility player that you know it would
Yeah,
be a shame to see him go. It really would. I mean, we've got Wolves tomorrow. That's a game where in the past year, 2 years, he's been superb in.
exactly.
His marshalling of Armand Traore has been superb, second to none.
Yeah,
He Traore has absolutely killed the bejesus out of Kieran Tierney, but when he's
mm,
got
Yep.
Maitland Niles in front of him, different game.
yeah. We can't afford to let him go even on loan.
I don't think so.
So we do need to keep him, and I'm actually who else? Mesut Ozil we knew he was going to go anyway. Socrates, crap. I mean, he was good for about 5 minutes. Um, Matt Ryan, I need to see more of him actually. I'd love to see him in an Arsenal shirt. I want to see what he's about. I want to know if he's a good. He can give Leno a run for his money. Um, I'm quite surprised that what's his name, Renarsson, is still there.
That's an
True.
interesting one, but I
That's
understand
true.
that. So the reason Munasson is there is because you have to have three keepers.
No, we could bring in one from the academy.
How
What's his
about
name?
This is true,
Nkoko?
how
but
about trying to
I
how about
mean,
trying to
there's
entice
the
Macy? Or is Macy gone to Reading or
Macy's
somewhere?
gone. We sold him.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
Matt Macy is sold. So he was the guy. I was quite interested in knowing what was going to happen with Matt Macy, but quite clearly he wasn't up to par. So the third keeper until Ryan arrived would have been the under-23 keeper, the black kid.
Yeah. Yeah. And he,
Um,
he looks pretty decent. And for a
he
third
does,
choice, he's probably
yeah.
he's what 18 years old. He's probably on the same level as a typical third choice goalkeeper. So
Mm,
let's just see what Arsenal do. Um,
yeah. So we didn't quite say our formal hellos, Ebony. How you been? How
I'm
you doing, love?
I'm fine, guys. I'm absolutely fine. It's been a very good day today.
Yeah,
Um, I've been off work, so well, because I'm on annual leave, so it's actually quite nice to stay in the warm and not go anywhere, and
yeah.
stay, and being in my nice warm house. So yeah,
Mm,
but all things Arsenal, I'm actually quite glad that there's movement.
mm-hmm.
It would have been nice to see some of these players actually being made money from. Um, I mean, as you said in the WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, in the Facebook chat, Tony, that it seems like it's going to be yet another year that we have players running down their contracts and they will virtually potentially go for absolutely nothing. And after all that promise 2 years ago of we're not going to allow players to run down their contracts. If they're running on the contracts, either offer them a contract or sell them. And we could be letting go of 7 players for nothing.
Yeah. So that was I don't know if you saw that piece of text I put in the group, Naomi. It was basically showing that Arsenal made a statement a year or so ago saying that we
yeah.
wouldn't allow anybody to go, within 2 years of the contract, and we would sell them. But here we are, 6 months away from the end of the season, with potentially a number of players leaving at the end of this season and a load more potentially leaving next season. So I'm going to just go and find that quickly so we can break that down. But while I do that, what do you think of Joe Willock leaving for Newcastle, Ebony?
As I said, he needs game time, and he needs that bit of experience. I don't know about what's his name, Steve Bruce getting the sack. It wouldn't surprise me if he did get the sack. I mean, I think they won over the weekend. I don't see them going down, but you can see the type. You can understand why Newcastle fans are frustrated with him because he is a second-rate manager. No offense, but he's one of these managers that's mid-table. He will not get you into the top four.
Yeah.
But as for Joe Willock, I kind of feel sorry for him because when he comes on, when he comes on in an Arsenal shirt, he tries his best.
Mm.
And that's all we ask for. Try his best. He doesn't put his head down. He just continues going for it, and he has scored a couple of goals for us. But if Arteta isn't playing him, there is a reason why, and hopefully he'll go on loan till the end of the season, and he'll come back a different player, just like El Neni. But then again, El Neni's reverted back to same old sideways. But I'm hoping that after the loan spell, which I hope is just for this season, Joe Willock can come back and and do a Emil Smith Rowe.
Cool. So I also forgot my pleasantries of saying welcome everybody who's watching in the chat. Hello Apollo, who's
At
controlling all of
Apollo,
What's
the
up, Apollo?
content being fed to us. Hope you're
get well
feeling
soon,
better, bro.
Apollo.
And I must say, you put the stuff up so quickly. I kind of need you to backtrack through some of it. I did see your comment about Newcastle not being the greatest of locations for Joe Willock. But I mean, my feelings are Newcastle on their day play good football, and there are
Yeah.
some good players in there. Right? The likes of Saint Maxima, Almiron. So there are some good pieces at Newcastle. What we don't expect is them to be playing, Wenger ball. But they're a decent team. They pulled off some good results. And, look, if Joe Willock can go into the middle of that midfield and perform the way that Smith Rowe did at Huddersfield last year, then he's going to learn a few things. He's going to be on the receiving end most of the time. But it's how he handles himself and how he performs in amongst that we're going to be looking for. Welcome, Cool K. Europe-wide, this has to be the most boring January transfer deadline day ever. Understandable given the circumstances. Worked out well for Arsenal, though. Yeah, I agree. I think we've done really well this window in terms of getting rid of players. In terms of getting money for those players, it's been rubbish. And there's a couple of caveats in that argument as well, because don't forget, we're still having an issue with Lucas Torreira at Atletico Madrid. We've not been able to make his move to Italy, which was touted earlier on in the window. We've not managed to get that happen. Guendouzi, what's going to happen with him? The forgotten guy who's also on loan. That there was talk that potentially he could have come back into the fray. Well, quite clearly that's not going to happen, and that to me indicates that we're not going to see this kid again. I don't see us ever reacquainting ourselves with Guendouzi. There was talk of a swap deal, Julian Draxler from PSG for Guendouzi. That looks like an interesting proposition.
Is it not
Obviously,
finished
doesn't
though?
look like it's going to come across the line.
I don't know about Draxler. Draxler's like, we've been linked with him for about 2-3 years, and it's if we didn't get him 2-3 years ago, it's just forget that ship has sailed. That ship sailed long time ago. I would love to see personally. I would love to see Guendouzi back. But I think that depends on the relationship he has with Arteta.
I think the relationship is finished. Like honestly, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's done. I think he's a good, talented player. I think there would be opportunity for him with Arsenal, but it's quite clear that Arteta has an idea on players that he wants, and this is why you see Maitland-Niles, who I think could be very useful to us, just being thrown away. Basically, I mean, the talks were like they were willing to loan him, but to certain teams, like they wanted to put an obligation to buy. Like already, like you just gave him a new contract, and it just shows that they only gave him a new contract just so that they can get a bigger amount for him. But when it comes to Arsenal with re-signing players, we've been terrible. Like I think you mentioned before about the rule that they said about if players have 2 years left on their deal, that we would sell them. Well, if you look at the amount of players that we have with a year and 2 years left, uh, it's staggering. Like out
Yeah,
of the 25, 30-man squad, there's only about 10 of them that have more than 2 years left where their
2 years.
contract ends 2024, 2025. The rest of them, their contracts end between this year, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And it
Mm,
just isn't good enough. And a lot
yeah,
of these players we're constantly using. So they've got to sort it out. I'm not sure whether they realize which ones that they want to keep, which maybe is the reason why they're very hesitant on renewing certain players' contract and why with others they're in a rush, like Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe's
mm,
contract should have been done and dusted at the beginning of the season. He's a talented player. He's 20 years old. Like, give him a 3-year deal, 4-year deal. Let's see what he can do. If he doesn't perform by the time he's 22, which would be at the end of next season, then you go up and sell him. But I really don't know. I think there's lots of things that we don't know as fans, and right
mm.
now it's all going to slowly unravel over time.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So yeah, I've just seen the confirmation that Niles, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, is now at West Brom. West Brom, is it?
Yep.
That
West
Yeah,
Brom.
stinks.
West Brom
That
on loan till the
stinks,
end of
man.
the season.
That just
What do you
stinks.
think of that move, guys?
I that stinks. I'm sorry, but when have we got West Brom? We've got West Brom tomorrow. So I'm just
No,
wondering, because Arsenal are his parent club, would he still, is he able to play against us?
no.
Okay,
Well,
fine.
at least
Because I know in Europe,
they
that
allow
They
it.
can
can
Right.
do
happen.
that.
They
Yeah,
can do that.
yeah,
Okay, but and with Tierney out because he's got what was it? He's got a lower leg discomfort.
yeah.
Who do we have at left back? So we've got Swat, we've got Cedric.
Cedric.
Okay,
Yep,
okay. Cedric is good enough. Okay, but then what if Cedric gets injured? And who do we have at left back?
that's true.
Granit Xhaka.
Oh God, no.
Only
Oh no, no, no.
Yeah. No, that's what it is. That's you gotta be honest with yourself. He has done it before.
yeah.
He has done it before.
Oh no.
Actually, it's not. It's Saka, isn't it? It's Bukayo Saka. But
No,
you
I don't want to
Oh,
know
see
Granit
when
Saka at
Xhaka.
left back. No,
you
that's
don't, you definitely don't. But look, this is what it comes down to. We're in a situation where certain odd situations are arising, like no left-footed left back means we're playing our right back at left back, and if he is unable to play, then we play our right midfielder at left back. So
Doesn't make
you know,
sense.
it
Doesn't
it,
make.
it
I mean,
kind of reminds it kind of
I
reminds me of
know.
Nelson Vivas. For those old enough, Nelson Vivas, the ultimate road warrior. He
oh
could
my
play
God,
anywhere on the pitch. In fact, Emmanuel Boy was quite useful at that as well. When you think of players
that's true.
who could play anywhere across the park, guys in the chat, if you could think of any player from the past who was an ultimate, how can we call a utility player? Put them in the chat. We want to see who you
Please
guys
do.
remember as being your ultimate utility man.
Luzhny. Joking.
Ole
I'm joking.
Luzhny. Oh,
I'm joking.
God. But yeah,
No.
Bowie was useful.
Mm,
Vivas, I remember he literally played across the back four and midfield. Yeah, put it in there. Let's see who you got. Only players that contracts run out this summer now is David Luiz, Danny Ceballos, Martin Odegaard, Matt Ryan. That's not true because so does following Balogun. So that's one, and Odegaard. You forgot, yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players this summer. But then We've got issues this summer around Torreira, Guendouzi, Maitland Niles. So you might as well add those three to the cake. Yeah.
There's
Then we're already
Yeah.
we're inside a year and a half now of the
yes.
contracts of Lacazette, Nketiah, Chambers, El Neni.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah,
N-
that's
You're
one,
you're you're
two, three,
absolutely
four,
right.
five, six, seven, eight, nine, nine players without talking about the loan signings, which is another one, two, three. Yeah. So potentially 12 players in a year could be out the door.
Do you think
That
we
is
are at risk
appalling.
of burning out? That's a good question. Do you think we
Yes.
are at risk of burning out? So, yeah, I do.
Yep. Yeah.
We,
Unfortunately.
because he's gonna have to. He's gonna need some. I know he's young and he's energetic and he's hungry, but he's a human being and he's gonna burn out, as will Emil Smith Rowe.
mm.
So yeah. So I mean
Well,
the
Smith
problem.
Rowe is
Yeah.
unique, and we clearly aren't going to flog him in the same way we are Saka, because we brought in Odegaard, um, which I think is going to be a rotational basis. Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, because I do
Okay.
honestly believe that this kid Odegaard is good enough to play.
I've
Happy
not
with
seen him
Cedric
play.
at left back. Is more comfortable at right back. I really hope we get a left back. People say Collar, but we moved on from 3-4-3. He has no place playing in a four. Not to mention he declined so rapidly. So Kolasinac was, you know what? Yeah, I mean, we know what we got with Kolasinac. It was good going forward. He was woeful
Yeah.
defending.
He was
That's the
abysmal
problem.
as a defender. I mean, I think, when you think back to when Wenger bought him, or when the club bought him during Wenger's reign, you see, this is why I don't watch YouTube videos anymore of players, because you only see the best bits, and people get they start creaming themselves over YouTube footage. I'm sorry, no. For me, the proof is when you actually play in the Premier League. That's when you're able to impress me. I'm not impressed by YouTube videos. But going forward, he was great. Defensively, abysmal. So, you know, so apart from the fact that he's gone, we still have a problem at left back. We still have to think about who do we get in if Cedric gets injured.
So
And
on the back of that,
unfortunately, and unfortunately, Tierney can be injury prone, but when he's on, he's on.
absolutely. So Greg G kind of reaffirms what you just said there. He says one injury from Bellerin, Tierney, or Cedric, and we have a serious problem. And Tierney often has some small injuries. A Nelson loan and a left back is missing for a very good transfer. Even a loan would have been nice for the left back position. So yeah, I mean, look, still 1 hour 36 and 41 seconds to go. You never know what Arsenal have got plotted. We could come in. We could come in with a last minute deal. So, you know, realistically, we haven't got any names in the hat other than the names that were mentioned earlier, which was Van Arnholt from Crystal Palace and Bertrand from Southampton, both which I feel would be adequate, but I'm not sure if we could get those deals in. I don't think Southampton would want to let Bertrand go
No,
right now.
no.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
Van Aanholt, again, I don't see Crystal Palace wanting to let him go, although they do have a decent left back who plays ahead of him.
Just the loan, I
Yeah.
think, would be good for Arsenal. 6 month loan, just to act as cover. To be really honest, I doubt Van Arnholt is going to be able to challenge Tierney. In my opinion, I've seen him enough. Like he's decent, but for me, I just think Tierney is our top class. But let him come in for 6 months and do a bit of a job for us. I think
Mm.
I'd be happy with that. Even if there was like a free option somewhere, bringing someone that would be that would be good. But so far, I mean, I'm looking as we're talking right now, and everybody's just saying that Arsenal are definitely looking for a left back, and Van Arnholt is the guy that they're looking at. So it's a matter of let's just seeing whether Arsenal are able to do a deal.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Reese should. Cool Case says Reese should be. That's Reese Nelson should be in Willian's spot, but if he can't stay fit enough and have enough of an impact to do even that, then what's the point? Rapidly losing faith in the kid.
I'm not losing faith in him at all.
I mean,
think
I
the
know
fact,
Apollo is really hot on Reese Nelson, and he was having a fantastic time in the Europa League, looking really good and impressive. So, Reese Nelson is an issue. We haven't seen not even nearly enough of him since the finish of the first stages of the Europa League. He's got nowhere near a Premier League squad of late, and it's worrying. I mean, you kind of look at that, just that, and think, well, maybe alone is what he needs.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think Mikel Arteta really likes to play youngsters? Because I don't think he really wants to do that. I think he would rather play, even if the senior players are playing terribly. I think he's so resistant towards playing any young players unless they are truly exceptional. And
Yeah.
for me, I really do. Like, this is where I am a staunch Wengerite. I believe in playing kids at times, and it's. I've seen William play and Pepe play so many times so badly this season that we should be seeing Reece Nelson far more. Like, it's criminal. This is why I hope he goes out on loan. I hope he gets a loan somewhere. It'd be great if he could go to Newcastle and then him and Joe could sync up, and hopefully that will help him kind of acclimatize even better. But such a talented player. I mean, he really just needs a good run of games.
Yeah. So
yeah,
Apollo's just confirmed.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ebony.
No, I was going to say, I do believe in Reece Nelson. I just think that the fact that Willian is playing in that particular role is stunting his growth, and we all know how everyone knows how we feel about Willian. I mean, he hasn't had a good game since Fulham,
Fulham.
so so I don't know why Sideshow Bob is there. Give the kid a chance. Drop Willian. Okay, I don't. How long's Willian there for? What, three? He's got a 3-year deal.
Yep.
Is that
Two
right?
more. Yeah.
So he's got 2 more years. He's got 2 more years in his contract. If he's not playing well, I keep saying this. If the old guards are not playing well, the kids have to come in. And how many times have we seen the kids do better than the old guards? And Willian is one of the old guards who he keeps on disappointing every single time. Every single time he plays, he falls over, he loses the ball. His free kicks aren't all that. His best days, his best days are behind him. So start giving that Reece Nelson a chance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Apollo's put up on the screen. He's confirmed Zach Medley, the centre back from Arsenal's under-23 team. He's currently aged 20, has joined Kilmarnock on loan. So
That's a good move for him.
Decent move, because they're in the Premier League in Scotland. So that's a decent move for him. Some good learning experience should be gained from his time up there.
Greg G says would be absolutely mad to re-sign Ceballos.
So
yes,
I mean, Ceballos is one of those players that's finishes at the end of this summer. So we've got so many things to decide, and these are the conversations that Arsenal should be having right about now. What are we going to do this summer? What will be the strategy? Because certain players aren't going to be here the next season. Which of the players who are finishing their contract might get another look in? Which of the players whose contract finished the next year will still be allowed to play, even though they're in the last year of their contract? So it's going to be a very interesting time. Andy Roach, how you doing, Andy? Arteta has definitely got an issue with putting youngsters on in the Premier League games.
Yeah.
He's
True.
almost had to fall into that where he didn't have any other option. But there's got to be a lot of pressure when you buy a guy and you're paying him the amount that you're paying a guy like Willian. The ones that really baffle me are Saliba. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
I don't understand
You
the loan that you buy him, you loan him, and
loan
you
him,
loan him
you bring
again.
him back, and you loan him back again.
And
And you
David
couldn't
Luiz,
play him and give him some reps in a European competition where we were playing minors. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's a weird one.
when David
Um,
Luiz, because David Luiz's contract ends this summer,
right.
so
Yeah.
who so Saliba has to come in for him.
No, that's not
Well,
the case. Because
did you hear that?
You've got Pablo Mari, you've got Gabriel, both good players. Rob Holding and Callum Chambers. You've also got um, Mavrapinos.
The map.
Oh, I
Yep.
forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you've got Mavrapinos. You've got Saliba. So that's 6 centre backs. And don't forget, the kid that we just bought in at the beginning of this transfer window is 19. So he's the same
Yeah.
age as Saliba, that Rekic.
mm,
So,
yeah,
and then we've just let 20-year-old Zach Medley go up to Kilmarnock. So we've got a shed load of centre backs, which is good. You need to be
yeah,
able to see a decent pack of players in a position and go, right, these are my 3 or 4 favourites. But quite clearly, Saliba looks like he's not going to make it. And we've not seen him play a game in anger. And we paid 27 million for him.
yeah. Waste of money.
He actually did an interview on, was it Football London, talking about his time at Arsenal, and he was talking about how upset that he was that he never got a chance at Arsenal. And like I hope Arteta like explains to this young man and tells him the truth on what's really happened and the reason why it is. Because it'd be a shame to lose a talented player like that. Like, I've watched a couple of his games at Nice right now, and he looks like a good centre back. I,
Exactly. He stands out.
Mm,
like,
In a bad team, he
it's
stands out.
there's no reason why all of the Europa League games he could have been playing. Like, he looks at the bare minimum like a third or fourth choice centre back. Like, he could easily get a chance at Arsenal.
There. I'll get some jokes from Andy Roach. Reece Nelson should change his surname to Xhaka.
maybe
Oh,
you know what I mean.
So, Greg G, I'm actually quite happy with how things are progressing. We are climbing up the table, exiting Deadwood. Plus, Spurs fans are in meltdown mode. So that's always a bonus to see
oh, it's
them.
great.
They
But,
got beaten by Brighton. Yeah.
we've got to concentrate on ourselves because, look,
True.
we've taken a mickey out of Spurs, often enough. But we have to be above Spurs to be talking about our noisy neighbours.
Vincey
We,
says
It's
Arteta
true.
out, Saliba in. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, it is work in progress. It's impressive when you look at this year in the summer and this January, how many players have been exited from the club. But now it kind of looks like we could be even under numbers in terms of squad. Um, we have we got enough young players from the home academy. The numbers are going to be very interesting. I think we're right on the sort of tipping point
On
with
the
young
edge.
players, because you've got to have a core of British players or what they call homegrown players.
Yeah.
And with the exit of Willock, Maitland, Niles, that takes 2 out of our homegrown players. And
Mm.
That's
you
true.
have to be very careful about how that balances the squad. I'd be very interested. Apollo's normally pretty red hot on being able to calculate how many we've got and how many we need and so on and so forth. But clearly, if we've got a 25 or 23 man squad to name from tomorrow, it was going to have to be very interesting because the addition of Matt Ryan, Runason, and Odegaard mean that We're right on the cusp. Getting rid of Mustafi frees up one of them slots. So as far as I'm aware, we're right. We can't bring another foreigner into the team, and that bearing in mind that we don't have Saliba, Torreira, and Guendouzi in the squad currently. So none of them, for instance, could come back in the summer and just walk back into the squad without us having to sell somebody. But conversely, obviously we lose Ceballos, we lose potentially Matt Ryan, and we lose potentially Odegaard. So yeah, we're playing a delicate balancing act with the squad in terms of squad numbers, in terms of homegrown players. I mean, obviously with homegrown players, it's very easy to just plug in a youngster. The likes of Ben Cotterill could come in. The likes of Miguel Aziz could easily fill in a gap where necessary.
Yep.
But it's interesting. Some of the things I'll be looking at is to say, why haven't we got a left back in the youngsters that we can progress? That's very interesting. If anybody is a big follower of the youth team and knows of a left back who, who's a year away that we could potentially move up the ladder, that would be an interesting one. As I said, we've got plenty of centre backs. The right back options again, we're covered with Cedric and Bellerin. I know some people want Bellerin out.
I don't want him out.
No, not definitely not now. But yeah,
Now that Maitland-Niles is gone.
yeah. There is one academy player who, like, he is a bit older. I think he's 21, 22. He's never really had a chance at Arsenal. Talaji Bola, he played in a preseason
Yes,
game
he
with
did. That's
us.
right. I remember him
Um,
playing. He's
Mm.
quite a unit as well.
yeah, he's almost built like a centre back.
Yeah.
I think he's about 5'9", 5'10". Um,
Mm,
he looks solid, but like I mean, the only way to really know whether he can do it is to kind of play him. But
yeah.
he's somebody that we can call out. But with the way how Arteta is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I think his contract also runs out this season. But if we needed like an emergency left back, or if we just needed another Englishman to cover, that's something that he can do there. So I'm looking
And
at
he's got a
online.
young kid. He's
Yeah,
22 years old.
yeah.
So he's
So like,
he's 22 years old, which kind of, at 22, you kind of have got, he's literally in his last year.
yeah,
You kind of go like at 22 on the 4th of January of this year, this summer, he's pretty much either going to cut it or not. Arsenal
yeah.
will either release him or say, you know, we've got to go find somebody else. So it's interesting. Yeah, he's a unit. He's a unit. I remember him when he played in a pre-season game.
If I was like Arteta, I'd actually start investing in some of the kids, quite frankly, because
I agree.
with regards to we have a youth academy for a reason, and as far as I'm concerned, that youth academy is it's there so that those players can get the experience to transfer to the first team. So if he's not going to start, if it's going to be a case of, oh, we're going to buy this player, that player from that, and that player from that team, then what happens to the kids? I mean, you have to think, you have to bear in mind that some of these kids will go off to other teams, and then Arsenal
Do
fans will
well.
be the first fans to go, oh well, why didn't we have him? Why didn't we play him? And so look into the academy,
Yeah.
and we're
I
able to
mean,
do that.
we've got some really good players in the academy. I mean, I mentioned Ben Cotterill because Ben's been he's been playing with the first team. He's been practicing with the first team all season.
Ages.
Every time I
Yeah,
see a picture of the first team training, he's there. So Ben's one to look forward to. Tim Akinola, he scores a lot of goals. Miguel
yep.
Aziz, he's a very talented player. Very good box to box player. So there are players in there that you go, potentially.
Look at Balogun. when he came on for us. Look how good, and he even scored a
And of course,
goal.
Balogun, yeah, I mean, he's the one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Balogun is the one that you kind of go, if anyone is most ready for us, it's Balogun. We've also got Tyrese John Jules,
Mm,
who's a good player out on loan at the moment. So there is good talent in the youth system. Look, it's a funny thing with the youth system because I kind of wish sometimes the loan system didn't exist and you could just develop the best of our talent at home. And the
exactly.
reason I say that is I
True.
remember the two FA Youth Cup winning teams. All of
Hmm.
our best players were there. Your Jermaine Pennant, um, what's the kid who went to Spurs? But
David Bentley.
David Bentley,
Mm,
Ashley Cole was in there.
yeah.
There was a whole group of players, and all of them were playing either in the first team or in the under 21s at the time because
Mm,
it wasn't under 23s, it was under 21s. And I used to regularly go over to Barnet and watch them guys, and you see them all kind of come out and perform at different times in the season as need be. And then, likes of Cole came and became, a legend. Jermaine Pennant looked like he was going to be the next coming of Christ. Um, didn't
mm.
quite make it, but we've had some good players come through that Hay Lane Academy, um, and now you just look at it and you think like, who's next? Obviously, following Balogun looks like the next good player.
Can I just say that, I mean, to kind of defend Arteta, I can understand why he plays the older guards because they have more experience. And when you're playing against the likes of, who we have in the Premier League, I can understand that, and I can understand that, he may think that a lot of these younger players are not quite ready yet for the harder physicalities of the first team. But how do you learn? How do you
Europa
learn?
League, Europa
Exactly.
League, and the League Cup.
Exactly. So start playing some of them, not all of them. Play
Yeah,
some of them
I
in,
agree.
start playing them
I agree.
in
You
cup
know,
games.
I mean, it's nice to see that some of them are getting that first team treatment by training with the first team. But I do honestly believe that what you said is absolutely right. That we need to blood some of those kids in the odd game here and there.
Yeah.
Wenger used to do it. It just let a player get a little 10 minutes at the end of a game. I mean, Wenger was lucky because most of the time we were like 4-0 up by that time, and he was like, "Yeah, go on, let's send in the youngsters." We're not so lucky to be able to say, we're 4-0 up and we can start playing some of our real youngsters. But that would be the ideal. If you're 3-0 up in a game, and you've got a player on the bench, let him get some minutes. Let him see what it's like to play in front of 60,000 fans and so on and
Mm,
so forth. I'd love to see Miguel Aziz in the first team, just playing alongside Thomas Partey. Just see how that works. I'm sure
Exactly.
playing alongside a player like that will do so much for his confidence, will do so much for his all-round game in terms of understanding what it takes to get to that next level.
So there's a question from Andrew Roach asking, ideally, what would the panel like to see if a signing was possible coming in? For
mm,
me, I you gotta go for a left back. Um, Young or old, I really don't mind, but you need some proper cover for Kieran Tierney, in my opinion. I think right now that is an absolute must. What would be kind of the dream? Maybe not a signing, but a departure. But I'd love if Granit Xhaka was sold. Um, but that's just me. That's just sorry. That's just me.
Oh man, the
I
hatred
agree
is
with
real.
everything what Naomi's just
So,
said. We need proper cover at left back.
oh
And I've been
dear.
saying for quite a while that Xhaka's nonsense. He needs to go. Okay. The guy
Hang
might
on a
the guy,
second.
guy
You're the
might
one
play
that gave the
3
guy.
games.
You gave the guy a really glowing mark Last
No, but
game.
no, when he plays well, I will give him a I will give him a glowing mark. But for me, he has more bad games than good games,
Yes. Yes.
and he's a he is a liability. He over the past 4 years, he's made the most mistakes. He's made
I'm
the
Apollo
most
in the sky.
mistakes. What
Sorry, go on.
what is going on? Naomi's is Apollo in disguise. Okay. Oh dear. No, I agree. So Xhaka, but then you know how, but for some reason, he's that player that all managers like.
Mm,
Yeah.
There's something about him. Yeah, is it he shows leadership in the dressing room? Is it because he certainly doesn't show it on the pitch? So I don't know what it is about him. You know, on his day he can be good, but sell him. He's a liability.
mm. Wow.
Even
I honestly think he's been not bad of late. I mean, if you've got a choice between selling El Neni and selling Xhaka, who are you going to sell?
I'd
Both.
rather.
Like, just you just got off the boat. Why? Why does it have to be a choice? It's not A or B.
Oh,
It's A
listen,
and B.
Now you're
Apollo
putting
is
everybody on
making
the
it
spot
clear.
now. I'd
Everybody
rather
is
keep
saying
El
sell
Neni because you
Xhaka.
can develop El
Everybody is
Neni.
in agreement. There's nobody saying anything else.
Right. Apollo saying Sol Shaka,
Yeah.
um,
18,
18
Cool
Sol
K,
Shaka, Cool K, Greg.
everybody. Yeah.
So-
I'm
somebody said that. Somebody said that
listen.
my mom should be signed up.
I personally agree with you. I'm not happy for Granit Xhaka to
Get him,
be.
Russ.
I'm not happy for Granit Xhaka to be at the club, but until we fix
A
everything
lot of
else,
things.
I just kind of feel we have to hang on for at least one more year. He might be the foil to party for one more year. But then in that 1 year, I believe somebody has to step up, and
And
we
as
will
Apollo
need to find.
always says, we have not made the top four since he's been here.
He's got 2 years left on his deal. Now is the time. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. So where
What's this
we
D
at? We
Dubs?
are 9:47, so 1 hour and 12 minutes remaining.
D Dub
Um,
says left back. I'm sure we can promote a backup from our academy. Wouldn't mind a Tyrick Mitchell, but he deserves to be a starter. So he's okay at Palace for now.
yeah, so he's their he's their first team first choice left back. So that's why we're looking at Van Arnholt, because he's kind of back up to Mitchell. Um, interesting, interesting.
D Dub also says Sal Xhaka, what was it? Sal Xhaka and Oneni, they're both toilet. Replace them and bring in Sanderberg and Eve Basuma.
Basuma, yeah. So he was a name that I did want to talk about, because he's one of the names that we've been linked with, including, of course, still we've been linked with Hussein Awar, Tariq Lamptey, East Basuma, Ryan Bertrand, Jordan Amavi, to name but a few of the names. So I guess this is one of them where we start putting in the request into the board to say, right, these are the ones we really want. So go ahead, Neomis. I know you've got some players that you'd like to see. And I forgot to mention Emi Buendia. So who you fancying?
At right back or just in general?
Anywhere, anywhere.
Okay, well, for me, I think definitely a backup for Saka. If we're talking long term, we need a backup for Saka, probably a backup on left wing, the number 10, someone to play with Thomas Partey. Um, I know everybody's talking about sell Bellerin, but I'm only replacing Bellerin if he wants to go. I think Bellerin has been all right. But if you're talking about replace, I'd definitely take Buendia. Um, Lamptey, I think is great going forward, but defensively, I think he's shaky. I think he's brilliant going forward. His deliveries in the box are of like a right winger compared to like a right wing back. Central midfield, I think probably I don't really have anybody for that, but I'd really be interested to see what happens with Odegaard. Maybe we could get a deal with him in the summer if things go really well. Um, but for me, Arsenal require quite a bit of surgery. Not that much in the starting 11, because I think that we are almost near complete. Then when once we have everyone healthy, but it's really just the players that are behind them. That so-called second 11 is where I think we need, because I don't believe we have enough depth in our squad. And then for me, it's the Mikel Arteta factor, because players that I would say are depth, some of the younger players, or I see Apollo putting the likes of Callum Chambers should be kind of a depth player, or Maitland Niles. They just don't get a look in. So it's like where do you go? And that's my big issue. So for me, I think we need a lot of depth players, unless you sign players that are better than your first team. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a tough one.
One player who you didn't mention was Eddie Nketiah.
I'm
I
not
don't want
giving
him
up
to
on
go.
Eddie. Yes, I know everybody's jump on sell Eddie, but I'm not ready to do that. I'm aware his contract runs out. This is why I want him to go on loan, because I think for me the only way Eddie's going to succeed is he needs to be a regular first team player. When we faced Southampton a week ago, a couple of weeks ago now, he was getting himself into good positions, but he didn't look sharp. He looked out of form, and he's a player that needs to play. And I think the problem is because we're blessed with so much forwards, and Lacazette is just on fire right now. Like for me, he's become almost undroppable. It makes it difficult for Eddie. But I'm not ready to give up on Eddie and Ketia. But
So do
there
you
will come
give
a time when
Lacazette a
it's going
new
to have to
deal?
be.
Do you give
No,
Lacazette a new
I,
contract in the summer?
No, I think we talked about this on the last call.
Yeah.
The only reason why I don't is just because of his age. If he was 25, 26, I'd give it to him. But when we are trying to save money, when we've got to pay these loans, and there are so many other positions that we're trying to fill, we can't be giving Lacazette a new deal when I think what we talked he's on 180 or 200 grand a week. If I was
Yeah.
him, I want a bumper raise on that. I'm playing well. I'm your top scorer. He's probably going to be our top scorer at the end of the season. Like, he's gonna want some type of pay rise. Like with us not being in the Champions League, we cannot give him that contract, and it's
Mm.
unfortunate because like we put all our eggs into Aubameyang, and Aubameyang has to be that like red herring all by himself in terms of salary, and no one else should get there until we are back consistently in Europe, or at least doing well in the transfer market and selling players for some type of monetary profit. So it's a shame, but it has to be that way.
Yeah.
No, I disagree with about Lacazette though.
I know.
How old is Lacazette? Lacazette's what, 30 or 29, 30?
Yeah, that's right.
Um, I I've been one of the very few people that, well, actually, no, I'm lying. Yes, I have criticized Lacazette, but you have to remember he's actually on. While he's still on fire, we need him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if we get him on a new contract, even if it's like a year extension, and he keeps banging in those goals, you know that
Do you,
that year extension will be repaid. I feel.
I could do with I could deal with a year extension. I I guess it's rare for players to really do that. But if we could get him for on a year, I'd take a year, another year with Lacazette. Like, why not?
Mm. I'd like to
I'd
take a
take that.
year pay as you play.
Yeah, even that page, page you go.
That would be nice.
But
um,
with Nketiah, you know, I've been saying, and you guys know already, and especially when Bertram starts praising him, you know, give the boy a chance. He will come good. You know, some players develop later than others. Give
well,
the boy a chance.
you
I
know,
know he
look,
doesn't always look sharp. I know that, you
look.
know, he gets into these positions where he should have actually scored, but I believe in the kid. I do believe in the kid. I believe in all the children. But Nketiah, you know, he gets the most flack because of the position that he plays and the positions that he gets in. Give him a chance. You know, the same thing that people did with Pepe. I'm saying to people, give the boy a chance.
That's fair. That's fair observation. You know, I think he deserves a year at least to try and do something. But whether that year deserves to be at Arsenal is a different kettle of fish. Because the problem is he's not currently scoring sufficient number of goals in the right places, in the right, you know, it's all very well doing it in Europa League or doing it for England under 21s, but you know, look, you've got to come in and do. You've got to start firing in the Premier League. You've got to do something in serious competitions. Um, and I just kind of wonder if Arsenal are going to have the, the patience to continue striving to improve him to the levels where he can become our number one striker. Listen, it's very rare at Arsenal that we've reared a player from under 21 to full out Arsenal striker. And when you think about it, you know, look through history. Thierry Henry came in as a youngster at 21
Yeah.
and, you know, was, you know, we weren't really sure what this kid was going to be, but he became the real deal. Nicholas Anelka came in at 19, very
Mm,
quickly established himself and proved to be the real deal. Franny Jeffers, flop.
yeah, big time.
Yeah, big flop.
Remember John Hartson?
Nicholas Bentner came up, was was so prolific at under 21 level. I'm not
Mm,
joking.
he was.
Yeah.
Literally, between the two of them, looked to me like mustard. I kind of was like, look, these two guys were scoring for fun. It was literally a case of what you saw in the first team was being replicated at under 21. And those two kids with supply from Pennant and um, Bentner, they were just tearing up teams. But neither of them, you know, were able to survive. Um, in the last few years, we've seen youngsters like I've forgotten his name
Gnabry.
now. Yeah, even Serge Gnabry. Wow. Wow. You pulled that one out for me. Serge Gnabry. Wow. I
Gnabry.
mean, that just,
Look at
I
him
don't even know
now.
what to say about Serge Gnabry. That just,
I blame Wenger for that one. I blame Wenger for letting him go before we saw the best of him.
yeah, you know. But, you know, we've seen certainly a lot of other youth team players come up, have a sniff, but never cut it. So, in all
Carl
honesty,
Jenkinson
Eddie
springs to
Nketiah,
mind.
when you consider what Eddie Nketiah is getting in terms of extended play in the first team in Europe and the Premier League, he's had a lot more than others before him have had. You know, with the
That's true.
exception of Bentner.
What Cool K says here, wage bill dropping like that was killing us. So Apollo, that helps to pay back the 100 million FA loan, right? Tony
Yeah,
seems to keep acting like the loan doesn't exist. Tony still wants to spend money.
I do. I do. I'm not going to deny it. You know, look, we've done some stuff. The problem for Arsenal is we've done so badly at selling players
Yeah,
Yep.
that we're unable to buy players now. So we rely upon the loan system. But you know, look, when you consider the amount of players, Sanchez, Giroud, Ramsey, Cazorla, Fabregas, all these players, all these great, huge money players that we should have been getting 60s. We should have been getting 60s.
And if you think
Plus,
back to when Thierry Henry was sold to Barcelona, he went for pennies. He went for
yeah,
shekels.
yeah,
That was a joke.
yeah.
Yep.
But we've become a team. We've become a club where people are looking and going, well, you know what? They're going to fuck up that deal. And when we do, another team benefits.
Yeah.
Nobody is spending
That's my
money,
worry.
Adrian. Nobody is spending money. Look, this is the quietest January transfer record ever. No, there's only really been 2 signings today. Really,
And it's all because of and COVID has played a lot of that as well.
huge. I mean, we
time.
look at teams on the continent. They're bankrupt. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter Milan. I'm actually looking at those teams. I'm thinking to myself, as Bertram said, we should be looking in their lockers and saying, who can we nick? Because Inter players aren't getting paid right now.
Wow.
They're
Yeah.
so in debt, they can't afford to pay the players. So the players have actually signed up and said, okay, we'll play, and we understand you're not able to pay us, but in time you'll come back and you'll settle it up. But you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. And they can afford to not be paid for a year.
Yeah.
Potentially. So, but it's actually good that they have that attitude, because I guess some players would be like, well, if you're not going to pay me, I won't play. So it's actually quite good that they have that attitude.
So Liverpool centre-back replacement Ozan Kabak, the deal is now confirmed from Schalke, which should basically mean that although Mustafi's contract was actually ended prematurely earlier on today, so it's not a matter of if and when, but it had already happened. That kind of clears the way for him to make his own deal at Schalke now. But again, you look at Mustafi, we bought him for 35 million.
Waste of money.
And then when you look at him, you can understand why Gary Neville raised his eyebrow and said, "Are you sure?" Because I'm sure that Shkodran Mustafi was the reason why, or one of the reasons why, Gary Neville got sacked at Seville.
Yeah, he managed them. He knew what Arsenal were getting. He's good in the Spanish league. Oh God!
Listen,
recall Mesut Ozil as cover for left back.
The interesting thing about Mustafi is he has some of the most amazing stats.
Yeah.
He in certain statistics, he's a better defender than Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
But
it's a joke, I know.
We all know it's just not about that. But the thing is, you kind of go, well, couldn't we have used some of that statistics to make somebody pay 10 million for him? I can't work that out. We should have done it last year. We should have done it when he, look, you have to go find him a club by hook or crook, 10 million and be happy. But now, nope, you're gone for nothing.
Mustafi, most amazing stat is 9 mistakes leading to goals. Him and Xhaka. Him and Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, I mean, look, players that, just, Mesut Ozil. How could we not have got some money for Mesut Ozil?
The contract ended. Contract was terminated.
All these terminated contracts is sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
As you said in the Facebook chat, it is going to be another year where we will make absolutely nothing, monetarily.
Yeah, I mean, what was the last time we sold a player? Iwobi?
No, that can't be.
When?
That's the last decent sale, right? Iwobi.
Really? What, for 40 million to Everton? Hi, Bertram.
Hello.
What's up, Evan? What's up, Bertram? No,
Good evening,
look at-
good evening, good evening.
Tell me,
Really?
have you
Wow.
made any
Wow.
decent money in the
Wow.
last few years?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
Bertram, you're pretty good at this kind of statistics. I think the last decent sale Arsenal made was Iwobi.
Yeah. We had Theo before him. Yeah. So what we got 20 million for Theo. We got 40 for. We got lucky with Iwobi, frankly.
We got
And also
so
we
lucky with Iwobi.
sold what's his name, Oxlade as well to Liverpool.
He was before that, and we
Yeah.
sold a kid that plays centre half for about 10 million to someone in the championship.
Yeah, Martinez. Thank you. But
Martinez,
Martinez was a giveaway
Martinez,
for
yes.
me.
Martinez should never have gone.
Martinez was a giveaway.
Don't even start me on that. Don't even start me on the fact that he's now playing for a rival.
How we didn't get 25 at least?
But that's Arteta.
No, but we sold Martinez in Corona era. So everyone is discounted significantly in Corona. A £20 million buy in Corona is a £35 million buy, £30 million buy. It's about 40% discount. So
yeah.
Sanson from Villa is a good example, who is a $30 million player they got for 14 mil.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could see that. Yeah.
Schalke signed Skodran Mustafi. Done deal.
Excellent.
So I heard Mercer said today that Mustafi had been sold to Schalke. He says, well, Schalke lost one game because the kid went to Liverpool that Mustafi was replacing. He said they have lost one game, and he said Mustafi will help them with that trend.
I pointed that out earlier.
I thought that was brutal, actually.
Yeah.
Was that Paul Merson?
Yeah, Paul Merson. Yeah, you know Merson has these lines actually. So
Merson ain't ramping at all. But
so
yeah,
Bertram,
no, I'm glad he's gone.
we have a snowstorm here. It's just not pretty. Outside is awful, just awful. You have to be shoveling snow, and it's not gonna stop until sometime, maybe tomorrow, I guess.
Okay.
It's ugly, but I'm inside, so I shouldn't complain.
Good.
I'm doing well.
It looks nice and warm in your house.
Yeah,
it is nice and warm here. Yeah, well, in my house. It's funny because
we love those spiral stairs. Anytime I see spiral stairs, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's an interesting transfer window for us. I'm not sure what you guys talked about before I was working. But seeing M-Man leave is a little bit sad, actually. And the question is, Tierney is injury prone, or appears to be, given his last two seasons, or season and a half. So what happens if Bellerin and Tierney get injured? I mean, Bellerin get injured, Tierney's out. Who provides that coverage? Is that maybe Callum Chambers, but it's not optimum, right?
But can he play left back? Can he play left back, Callum Chambers?
No, he's a right back.
Cedric will play left.
What happens if Cedric gets injured, though? That's the thing. It's like who do we have to cover? Do we go into the academy, or do we say to Chambers, look, Chambers, I know you're not a left back, but we really need to play left back.
It would be because
it'd be Xhaka.
That's what I said as well. Xhaka and Bukayo Saka.
I mean, he's very speedy. So he'll do well around there.
Yeah. So we can knock off Christian Eriksen because Inter has said he's not leaving.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him anyway.
Where's Willock? Is Willock gone someplace?
Yeah, he's Newcastle on a 6-month loan.
On loan.
He's gonna do well.
Oh, you know what? I think Willock will do really well at Newcastle.
Yeah.
When you're a box-to-box midfielder with gold in your repertoire, I think if he gets game time, he'll do well.
Yeah.
Less pressure.
They need it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Interesting times, actually. So I'm sure you guys touched the wage bill as to how much we have saved. Not only wage bill. I mean, the problem is not the wage bill is one thing, and that's nice. But we don't have the resources like a Chelsea or Man City or Man U to be giving away players for nothing, right? We have lost over the last couple of years some in the range of about £200 million of supposedly deadwood. You can't afford not to have sell-on capabilities for your assets. They're liabilities. They're not even assets.
Yeah.
You basically give them away to someone else who's going to use that asset. So
Here's
it's
an
pretty sad,
interesting one
actually.
coming across. Watford have signed Dennis Bergkamp's son, Mitchell Bergkamp.
Yeah, I
Joined their
saw
under
that.
23 squad.
Yeah.
You never know. He could be like his dad.
We are well, yeah. I mean, you know that name synonymous with
Alone.
Arsenal now. You know, any Bergkamp, you know, is almost like one of us.
Of course.
I thought he got a tryout with us, but he didn't do well, so
Yeah,
we didn't
he
take him.
did.
Right?
He did. So,
I think
but
he'd be all right at
You
Watford.
never know. He might be a late developer. The fact that
True.
he's got into a team like Watford, you know, that's a good team in the first division or in the Championship. You know, to develop his football, learn the physicalities. That he we'll keep our eye on him. You know, he's like one of us, really. He's like one of us.
Speaking
Yeah, I
of
think
Watford,
the kid I wanted
Watford
to us
there.
to think about pursuing the kid that went to Brighton, right? The kid that went to Brighton, the midfielder, the box-to-box midfielder that Manu was pursuing and gave up on.
Okay,
Went to Brighton for 4.5 mil. Tim Vickery, who was the person from South America, the football expert, is very high on him.
Okay.
He's about 19. I thought we would put a bid in or something.
Okay.
Given Edu is from Brazil, would have had some perspective on him, but yeah, no, we didn't go that direction.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when you look at those kind of players, I think there's a lot of that type of player available. If you look in the South American market, you know, a lot of good wonder kids playing. I mean, I don't know if you watched the Copa Libertadores. Is it Copa Libertadores final? Palmeiras against
Santos.
No, was it?
Who they play? I thought it was Santos they played.
But I can't remember. It wasn't Santos. I can't remember the name of the team. But there was a load of players on that picture. I'm like,
But they play slow though. Their game is so slow. It's like,
yeah, but it's technique, bro.
It is technique, but it's so slow. I put me to sleep. It's hard to watch. I mean, you won't get that time in the Premier League to turn and go to the shop and come back and still haven't gotten a tackle on you yet. I mean, it just doesn't work.
There's a lot of kids in that division who
that's true.
Have got great technique, are very fleet of foot. You know, if you've got speed and technique, you got half chance. I mean, you know, Martinez is a prime example.
Yeah, Martinelli
even. Yeah. Martinelli.
That's true.
He's very swift and he's got good technique. So I kind of figured that, you know, look, we haven't really gone too deep into the South American market because, you know, there are players out there, the next Luis Suarez's, the next Edison Cavani's and so on and so forth.
Yeah, probably sometimes a hit and miss. Because players like Rodrigo went to Real Madrid are supposed to be the next best thing, and they haven't. Yeah. They're still young, but it hasn't got there so far. So.
You know, Vinicius is tearing up at Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? It's Odegaard. Is he sexy? As a player, as a player, as a player, as a player.
Hey, Tony, you can take that. Tony, you can take that. Tony, you can take that.
As a player.
I'll give it to you. Tony, imagine. I don't want that question.
I got kids.
As a player. As a player.
So I'll say that he's a creative player. How about that?
Okay.
He's a very creative player. Who can see a pass? He has Ozil pass capabilities, actually.
Yeah.
He finds passes where they're not obvious, right? He sees the play two steps ahead.
Okay.
But he's also not the biggest tackler, right? He's not going to put a foot in.
There we go. The war
I don't know. I've not seen you 18.
Is about to kick off in the chat.
I'm just asking as a player because whenever I hear, because sometimes you know you hear of players that you know we never see, and but then others will tell you, oh, he's good, he's great. It's the same with it's the same with you know when Socrates was being signed, you know, it's like nobody actually saw him play, but then we were assured that he was brilliant. So, but we were left disappointed. So I don't want to I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge Odegaard yet because I've not seen him play, and I've not had a chance to see him at Real Madrid. So
No,
well, I think last year he was out on loan and he did really, really well.
He did really well at Real.
He did really, really well. He actually scored against Real Madrid, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
but he allowed loan players to play against the team that loaned him out.
Yeah, that's right.
In Spain. But he did really, really well, actually. He was one of the better players in La Liga last year. But it's hard to get the Real Madrid team, right? People like Isco came into the team. It's hard for you to be able to penetrate that team. So, look, I think Arsenal is being cute with Odegaard. So they want to get this loan to influence him while he's here, like they did with Ceballos, and say, you know what, push for a move if this works out really well. We're going to give you playing time. You push for a move afterwards. Arteta is being very cute and Edu with that move. I don't think they would do the move. They're doing the move to get him in here permanently.
That's an interesting one. Go back one, Apollo, the Caicedo comment.
That's the kid.
Great. So Caicedo is most likely Bissouma's replacement, meaning the latter could be on the move in the summer. Very good comment, D-Dubs.
That is true.
Kind of look at that, and you know, they've now got two really, you know, strong players in the middle of the park there.
Well, Caicedo is a kid I was talking about. Is he from Ecuador? One of those countries who is now going to be parked in some place in Belgium, I think, until the season is done, and then bring him over. So he's a player Manu was pursuing.
No, I think he's going to be there at.
I heard they're going to park him in Belgium.
I think
Brighton.
He's there to play.
He's coming in?
At Brighton.
Okay.
Straight away.
Brighton is not getting relegated.
I
watched Brighton play yesterday. They're not getting relegated.
Yeah.
Brighton is a quality team, actually. They just can't score goals. They're a quality team. Yeah. They were better than Tottenham yesterday.
Either. We're definitely not getting Bissouma. Bissouma will be 45 million in the summer if COVID is over.
Which it won't.
I think what teams should do if they were smart, what they should have done this window, is have an option to buy.
Yes.
So you get loans an option to buy, and therefore you're going to get a much lower price. It's based on this environment that you're buying in to get an option to buy. Why teams are not pursuing that is beyond me. Yeah. You're going to get money in the summer. We'd have half the UK be vaccinated by the summer, I would see. It's in a much better place, and economically, the activity will step up. So I'm not sure why teams are not doing that.
Bissouma for 40 million would be a steal. Unbelievable player, says Sergio Lau.
In this environment, Bissouma is worth 20 mil. He's 20 mil in this environment. Maybe 40 in the summer. It won't be more than 40.
I don't even think it'll be 40 in the summer. I think, you know, this COVID thing will just go right through and players will be sold cheaply.
No, I think we'll have better. I mean, Israel has vaccinated 1/3 of its population. Only has 9 million people. But I'm sure it's going to step up over time. The rate is going to speed up as the logistics get worked out. So a lot of people will be vaccinated by the summer. In the next 5-6 months, there will be more protection will be stepped up. More people will be vaccinated. I think the league will be in a better place come October. So
maybe
this year.
So we've got 40 minutes left of the transfer window.
So is our business done? Did we bring in anyone?
Martin Odegaard and
no, I'm gonna forget Odegaard. I mean, we did Odegaard before. I'm talking about since today. Nothing today.
No, it's just been pure outs.
Yeah. Which is fine, but
I think Apollo saying on the 50% vaccination happening after July. If you do have the population by July, that's not a bad place to be. Especially the more vulnerable get populated.
Oh, well, I won't be one of those people. So, and I've got my reasons for that. So, yeah.
Well, the minute it's available, I'm taking my vaccination. The minute I say I'm eligible, I'm taking my vaccination. Look, we get vaccinated for the flu. We get vaccinated for a lot of different stuff.
Still get the
polio.
flu.
Why wouldn't I take it? Whether it works or not, if it works half of it, it's not 95%, 50%, I'm still better off, right? The probabilities work. So now I'm taking it.
No, I'm not taking it.
I think you should.
I'll wait until everybody takes it, and then. Let's see
what
the side effects.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, guys. Here's the problem you guys don't realize, which is the most vulnerable population, which are blacks and Hispanics, are the ones most skeptical about the vaccine. So that is contradictory, right? The ones who are dying the most are the ones that want to take it. You gotta marry that actually.
Here's an
That can't be the
interesting
case.
move, guys, for you to mull over. Apparently, Southampton are going to do a deal for Takumi Minamino from Liverpool for a loan till the summer.
Interesting.
Well, they need to get him playing time, right? He's a good player, but he's not going to get playing time.
Yeah,
especially with Jota coming back, so they might as well move him out for the time being. He's a good player. They need help too up front. I mean, they haven't been scoring goals. I think the last 5 games they haven't scored too many goals actually. So
yeah, if Southampton are bringing them in, they're putting themselves to have a strong end of the season.
who else have they brought in so far? I've only seen the minimum you mentioned. Have they brought in anyone else?
Southampton?
They wanted Amen to cover off.
They wanted him in. Well,
but he wants to play midfield.
Yeah, Arsenal, from what I understand, were just acting really shady about the deal. He was up for going, but then Arsenal wanted a deal where they would have an obligation to buy. But then Maitland-Niles, that's what was coming out around like 9 a.m. your time, which is why I was even more upset. Like,
so they want to sell Amen then.
It sounds like it. It sounds like
I don't want him to be sold. I don't want him to be sold. I think he's a good player, and if we lose that, we lose one of the best utility players that we've ever had, well, in my lifetime anyway.
But he doesn't want to be a utility player though. So there's an inherent conflict between what he wants and how teams want to utilize him. Right? He'll accept being a utility player for England, but not for a Premier League team because he wants to establish himself in the midfield. And look, at some point, you can't keep on being a utility player if that's not what your desires are. So let's see what he does at West Brom. He has a chance now to prove that he should be a full-time midfield player. Maybe he could be Partey's pair with Partey.
So I posed a question a bit earlier, a bit of an off-topic one, which pertained around Ainsley Maitland-Niles and the fact that he covered a number of good positions for us. Name a player who you would say goes down as one of our best or even most notorious utility players in history. And I brought up 2, which was Nelson Vivas and Emmanuel Ebowie.
Ebowie was a right-back midfielder. Pulled off, get substituted and get pulled off after being substituted. I think it was a substitute.
Flamini, of course.
Flamini was also, yes. Flamini was also a utility player. Midfielder turned right back. Yeah, he's a utility player. But Amen is young. They did a little bit later on. Amen is pretty young. He's what, 23?
Yeah, for sure.
He should play in central midfield.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Ebony.
No, I was saying that Apollo pointed out that El Neni has been a good utility player.
We mean utility in the sense of first utility. I mean you can play multiple positions, not in terms of you can fill in when someone's not playing well. I think the concept is more around you can play 2 or 3 positions.
Yeah.
So that firstly allow a team to, like England wants to do with AMN, which is I can be more specialized, specialize more in the positions I select for because I have this player who can rotate positions.
I mean, another player who was very useful in that kind of utility role was Kolo Touré.
Yes.
Because remember when Kolo Touré first started, he played centre mid, right mid, then right back, then centre back.
I think Chambers can fit that role because Chambers is a centre back who can play right back. But he played centre midfield for Fulham for all season. That was the player of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he has that a bit. And I watched him at Fulham. He was decent, actually.
Yeah,
he was decent on the ball. Yeah. So he
like
probably have to play that role now. Huh? So again, Neilmis?
I said Arteta doesn't like him. Like, he's been healthy for weeks.
I don't know if he doesn't like him or he doesn't have a place for him. Because think about it. We have 4 centre backs. If you get injured, you don't get your game back, right? When David Luiz got injured, he didn't come back in right away. When Mari got injured, he hasn't come back in right away, even though he's probably still injured. Gabriel got injured. He was a second best player. And was best player. Saka surpassed him at this point, and he didn't come back straight back in. So, he has 4 players he's rotating. Holding is the one person who's been sort of stable in his position. on the right side. So it's hard if you are not part of the setup right now as a center back, given the 4 people in front of you to get, to be able to come into the team. Maybe that's why he said amen out to give him play at right back, actually.
Guys, the thing is, play a little violin here. I'm going to just play a little violin because apparently Spurs have said Danny Rose can't leave.
Oh, what a shame.
Poor Danny. Honestly, I feel sorry for that guy. He has wanted out for weeks.
I really feel sorry for him because if anyone's watched the Tottenham documentary on Amazon,
I've got better things to do with my time.
I feel so sorry for the kid. That's it. You know what? When we're talking about left backs, I would actually take Danny Rose.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yes.
Seriously.
Danny Rose is a good player.
Yeah.
Danny Rose is a good player.
Him. And the
last time
the Spurs are killing that talent in not in getting a squeak.
No, there's a battle. There's a battle of who has the best, who has the stamina to deal with what they're encountering, right? Which is they may have wanted to re-sign him for another year to get something for him. He wants to be a free agent, to determine where he goes and how much he gets paid, including a sign-on fee. And so he's basically saying, you know what? I'm not going to sign. And they're saying, well, we're going to hold you out. Now, I think they're cutting off they could loan him out, get the salary of the books, and be the better place. It's not a zero-sum game in this case. They need to make a better decision.
Because they loaned him out to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he came back.
And then he went back to Spurs. And where is he now?
Back at Spurs.
I think he's Spurs Ozil. He's Spurs Ozil, but he's not lazy.
Yeah.
He is Spurs Ozil, though.
No
we
jokes
should sign him in the
guys.
summer.
Look, we're looking for a left back for next season.
Yeah.
You think he'll fit in?
We've had Spurs players.
And then we could
No, Danny Rose doesn't like Arsenal. Danny Rose doesn't like Arsenal. He's always been a bitter. He doesn't like Arsenal.
But he hates Spurs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could use it just to banter them.
But do we have another William? So we're going to be very skeptical about buying anyone over 30.
Sure.
Fans are going to be skeptical, and so will everyone else.
But
We've done it quite a bit.
How old is Danny Rose?
Isn't he about 31?
He's about 30.
He's getting up there.
Yeah, he's about 29, 30, something like that.
No. Oh, well. But would he fit into the Arsenal mold?
He's good enough. He's a good player.
Good. He's a good player. He's a good player, but I'm not sure we would. He's 30. I'm not sure he's 31 in July? I'm not sure we would.
Yeah, a little bit too long. Yeah. It's the age thing, isn't it?
It's an age thing. I think someone's saying, now I'm a big Willock fan, actually. I think Willock will come really, really good. It's hard to find box-to-box midfielders who can score, frankly. I just think he just needs to refine his game. Just be more in his decision-making sometimes. He hesitates. Need to pull the trigger. I think he'll be fine. He's come a long way, actually. But when I saw him at 17, first coming to the team, and I thought he had no chance, he's made much progress. So the trajectory and the upside is quite a bit, actually.
Do you
Hopefully
think
he goes to Newcastle and does well. So again?
Do you think Arteta will give him a chance? Because that's one of the things we were talking about earlier on. A lot of these young players, I personally feel like if Arteta could buy someone or play someone senior, he'll play them before he plays the likes of a Joe Willock or Reece Nelson and so on and so forth, unless they're exceptional.
I think Arteta is very focused on the quality of the player, right? The immediate quality. So, and he keep players around like Willock, because I think he's given Willock opportunities, and Willock hasn't necessarily grabbed it with both hands. I think he's very focused on the quality of the player and what they can contribute right now. I will say, though, he does rely on experience quite a bit. And so you see him putting in his faith in players like William, and it hasn't materialized as well as expect. Because William is quality. What anyone wants to say, he's just not producing. And so he keeps saying the player has to come out sometime.
Yeah.
But it's not happening. And the season is not forever. We're halfway through the season. He still hasn't done it. So at some point, he has to pivot. Now, he was forced to pivot because he had no one to go to. So it wasn't his genius that brought in Smith Rowe and all those younger players. It was him not having a choice but to select those players. Hopefully, William will come good because I still think there's a player in there someplace. and Pepe will come good. And Pepe is showing more and more. I think Pepe has gotten the message, frankly, that he has to do better. His work rate has improved. So hopefully in the second half of the season, and even Aubameyang, frankly, because people are not giving Abba a hard time because he scored a couple goals more recently. He scored 4 goals. Was it 4 goals in 20 games? Well, say 18 games because he's missed a few games. Still not a good return for a supposedly Premier League striker who is supposedly world class.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he's making 350, so it's not like he's not getting paid and he's disgruntled. He's getting paid. He's gotten paid for his past performance, but his current performance is not reflecting his compensation. So we do have to hope the players really transform themselves in the second half of the season and have the same result we're having in the last 5 or 6 games, and that will propel us forward. Because I think Arteta think he can make top 4. I'm sure he thinks he can make top 4, given the topsy-turvy league. And therefore, he's trying to set his team up to be able to achieve that objective.
There's absolutely no reason why we can't achieve top 4. Mathematically, it's well within our capabilities. So it's just a matter of you've got to win the games. You've got to win the game. Injuries is going to play a massive part on it, though, because all it takes is 2 or 3 in the wrong positions, and like yesterday, or the day before, 2 players would have made us win that game. Literally.
Yeah, but I have a feeling there's only one top 4 position open.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think Liverpool and Man City are gone.
Yeah.
And Man U have a very good squad, so they can withstand any dips.
Yeah.
I think Leicester is catchable because they don't have Vardy.
Yes,
right. Vardy, they look ordinary, frankly.
Yeah.
But then you have other teams, right? I think Everton is falling off because I think they made some bad strategic decision. Like Theo Go, they don't have good cover. Southampton is falling off. Spurs
falling off.
Spurs falling off as well.
Yeah,
West Ham are falling off.
And Chelsea will probably get better. They seem to be, the manager may have a manager bump. We'll see if it's sustainable. So I think it's more around we have a chance, but it's going to be tough. Because there's so many teams. There may be a surprise. So many teams all around sort of seem like they're the same level. So we're all fighting for the one spot, actually.
You got teams beating teams that you would never have thought would win. So and the Premiership has been like that for a very long time. So as far as 4th spot is concerned, it's just up for grabs. Anybody below 5th, from 5 down below, can actually get.
Andrew is saying that Danny Rose was Arsenal's academy player. We seem to do a good job of nurturing such talent. Kane was an Arsenal academy player. Danny Rose, Eze was. I can't believe you let Eze go. Because that makes no sense.
He's not a Wenger player. He's not a Wenger type of player.
No. When you have that sort of skill, you're everybody's player. Okay? That's not a later game skill. That's skills you develop on the playground when you're playing with kids. That's not something you teach. I have no idea how you let Eze go.
The other thing that Arsenal do as well, and they've done, is bought players and not played them. Whatever happened to that Nigerian kid? Remember that Nigerian kid that we signed? What was his name?
There were 2 kids who played in the under 17 World Cup. There were 2 kids playing on the under 17 World Cup that we didn't buy, actually, doing really well. I can't remember his name. There were 2 kids actually. We're supposed to brought them in, and it never materialized actually.
And then we bought Bramall Cohen or Cohen Bramall.
That was a bad buy. He didn't work out.
Yeah, he's gone.
He wanted for like a non-league team or lower league team, and that didn't work out actually. He's probably playing the lower division now.
And the Japanese kid that we bought, Imamoto.
Yeah, he didn't really play for us though, did he?
No.
He made us
and I haven't heard him play any place else are doing well, so
he made us a shed load of money though.
His shirt sales, yeah.
That's all that was. I used to watch him in the reserves. The reserves used to be packed.
So he brought fans out
for the season with ankle injury.
So we need to go to Japan and South Korea to scout players then, if we want to get commercial.
and Amory Bishkov, if everyone remembers him.
Yeah, the German.
No, I think he's French actually, or Portuguese, one of them.
Okay.
But yeah. Like he never played. I think he had a broken leg all the time. And Carl Karlstrom.
Oh, he was a waste.
Carl
Biggest
Karlstrom was
waste
the best.
of
Was the
money.
best actor. Didn't he come injured and left injured? I mean, he just
Yes,
Yeah.
and
literally,
he wasn't that good.
quite literally.
Like, who's doing the scouting for these players? Like, you and I can say he doesn't pass the eye test. Why would you bring somebody that doesn't pass the eye test? I have no idea.
He won an
Crazy.
FA Cup medal as well, I think.
But how?
It was great. He comes in
Oh
with
my
a broken
God.
back. All he does is score a penalty, I think, in the 4th round. Ends up with a medal afterwards. It's brilliant. You gotta love it.
We're a very
You have to
charitable
laugh.
organization. We're charitable.
Only Arsenal could sign a player with a broken back and give him a FA Cup medal.
Well, they may have relied on the doctor. I'm gonna give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt and say they may have relied on the doctor that he would recover quickly. But if you're gonna take some of the January transfer window and they're not healthy, I don't think that makes sense. Yeah. Any more exciting transfer news?
No,
No.
it's the deadest transfer deadline day.
Nobody's doing any business though.
No. We did the best. We did the best business though. We had the best January transfer window.
Yeah.
What, getting rid of players?
We got rid of, I don't want to call them deadweight, players who were not going to be available to us or
In other
provide
words,
that we're looking for.
Dead food.
Kolasinac, my favorite player, Mustafi, Socrates. If you think about it, there's quite a bit of players who are more seasoned and who are wealthy, well paid, who are off the books.
So
and also they're foreign players because you want to have the right mix of homegrown players and foreign players. So
let's assume that our business is complete right now. Yeah. What would you grade this? What should we use as a grading system? 1 to 10, 10 being the best.
We can do that.
Yeah,
A, B, C. Well, the people that would say a grading system is A, B, C, right?
Or A plus, B minus.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll use the A grading system then. So guys in the chat, if you like to use the chat to put in your grades based on, we don't expect in the last 22 minutes that are remaining for any business to be done, what would you grade the transfer window so far? Yomis, want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah, I'll give this transfer window a solid B. I think that a lot of the deadwood that we have gotten rid of, I like that. And I'm reading it now. You got Mesut Ozil, Kolasinac, Saliba's gone out on loan, Socrates is gone, Macy's gone, Matt Smith has gone out on loan, Mustafi's gone, and Zach Medley's gone out on loan. And Willock as well. So I think that the players that have gone out on loan, I think it's good loans for all of them. Players who we wanted to get rid of, it would have been good if we could get some money for them, but it's good that we got them off the books. And then the players that we bought in, like we needed another goalkeeper. We bought in Matt Ryan. Who else? We bought an Omar Rekit. I know that was a deal that was supposed to be done in the summer, but yeah, we got that over the line. And then Martin Odegaard, we needed another number 10, so that's good. And I know he can play in central midfield as well. But really and truly, all we really need is a left back, and that would probably make it an A. So I think overall, it's good, but it could be a little bit better.
Ebony?
What would I give it on the A markings? I'd give it a C, I guess. Yes, we, after years of moaning about the deadwood, they finally pretty much gone. I'm not happy about Ainsley going out on loan because it means that for potentially 6 months or 4 months, we've lost the utility player. I'm happy that we signed a better goalkeeper than Renarsson. I've yet to see Odegaard play, so I'm glad that they've come in nonetheless. But I think that going forward, I would like to see more of the young players actually play and blend youth with experience as well. And I say that in the sense that because we haven't made that many signings and we haven't made any other than Odegaard, we haven't really made any outfield signings, apart from Odegaard and obviously, you know, the goalkeeper. It would be very interesting to see how we play going forward, and how Odegaard is utilized, and you know, would he be in the rotation system along with Emil Smith Rowe. But yeah, I mean, I have to admit that I'm happy that, you know, players that I've wanted to go, that I've been wanting to leave, have finally left the building. So I give it a C.
Okay, Bertram.
I give it a B plus for a number of reasons. So I think one can have to really focus on the current environment operating in and how you manage your finances. I think that's the most important thing in managing your football club, is how you manage your finances. And that's been a challenge for us. Yes, there's a lot of addition by subtraction that we have made. So getting rid of the Ozils, the Socrates, the Mustafis, players that you want to get at your club for a number of reasons: culture-wise, finance-wise, cost-wise, and also playing-wise. That sometimes players get disgruntled and can cause consternation in your team when they're not playing. And the Ozil drama was really draining the club. Always have to answer questions about him and why he's not playing, why he's not in the team. So you've actually added by having those players removed from the club. Secondly, you're having players go out on loan who you're developing because you want them back in your team, mainly in Willock, maybe Amen also, but I still think they're probably perfect Amen for a sale, given that we don't have a lot of assets that we can sell to sort of pursue who we want to pursue. We have talked about crying out for a creative midfielder. And even though ESR is filling that, ESR still doesn't play the pass between the lines, between defenders, so your forward can run on and just need to finish. And Odegaard provides that. And I think Odegaard is a very strategic signing, as I mentioned before, whereby the goal is probably try to sign him permanently, given his skill set. And we focus on Awa, but he's probably cheaper than Awa. And maybe come with us not the same reputation, because Awa has played Champions League football and done well, but I think Odegaard has been viewed as the next big thing. And he's only 22 years old, so that may be a possibility to get him. And we need a backup goalkeeper, because Renarsson was not the answer. And now Matt Ryan is a very experienced keeper and a better pair of hands, a safe pair of hands. The one place where we're deficient, actually, is the left back position, because Tierney seems to break down quite a bit, and we don't have cover. Now, one could also probably say that, because Sora is now playing left back, do you also need a right back? But as I mentioned before, Callum Chambers does fit that mold. He's played there and has done fairly decent there. He can also play three at the back sometimes if you want to find a way to cover off those deficiencies. So I do think, given the totality of the window, what you're trying to achieve, which is you really want to you can't balance your book in this environment, but at least reduce your deficit significantly. And getting rid of more than £500,000 a week in salaries is huge. And also, the strategy is not just about this window. The strategy is about a 3-4 year type strategy. This is just the inception of that strategy. You get players out, you reduce the number of foreign players you have. It's a much better balance between foreign players and domestic players. You're setting up your finances so you can go in the summer and hopefully TV deals and others will come back to norm, so you're well positioned financially to pursue the players you want. And obviously, we need a midfielder. We probably need a center forward. We do have some challenges with, and I'm digressing here a little bit about, like Zach Lacazette, for example. What do we do? He's coming to the final years of his contract. So we do have some tough decisions to make, but you can reduce those number of decisions when you get rid of players who you don't want, right? The only sad thing about this window is, as I mentioned before, we have gotten rid of a lot of players who all cost money. Socrates was 18 plus, Mustafi's 30 plus, Ozil is 40 plus. You're talking about a lot of money that we have gotten rid of with no return. And we're not Man City with oil money to be able to afford to lose all that resource, that supposed assets, with no return on our investment. So I am happy that we've made some good decisions in terms of moving people on. My hope now is that we kick on and make top four so we get some Champions League money, some more commercial money, to enable us to do well in Europe and in the league.
So, Bertram, can you just reaffirm what was your grade? It was a B plus?
B plus, yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you two names that are going to knock you down to a B minus. Guendouzi, Torreira.
They're not in this window.
Why aren't they in this window? Torreira, clearly, something is going on. He's not getting game time at Atletico Madrid. And Guendouzi is quite clearly never coming to Arsenal again.
Right. So I don't think, here's my view on that. You shouldn't sell in this window assets that have appreciation to them. Not a good deal. So I think people are confused about the strategy I would employ in this window. If I have cash, I'm buying in this window. If I have assets that's sellable, I'm not selling in this window. Because everything is discounted between 25 and 40%. So why would I sell in this window if I can hold on to that asset and I'm not paying the wages? We're not paying Guendouzi's wages. We're not paying Torreira wages. They have more than 2 years left on their contract, not a 1 year where they can, hold out, and then you have to force to sell them at some ridiculous price or give them for free in January when they can sign with another team. So I wouldn't sell in this window at all. But I would buy in this window because they're discounted.
Would you let what's going on with Lucas Torreira continue? He's at a club where quite clearly he's not wanted.
My understanding is that they have the loan for a year. We can't call him back. That's my understanding.
It's not a year. The reason is there was a very good chance he was going to go back to Torino, was it?
I heard that they wanted to, was it Torino or Fiorentina wanted to take him back with a mandatory 11 million buyback.
Right.
Don't sell in this window.
Needed to happen
no.
Somehow.
No. Don't sell in this window. You cannot sell him for 11 million in this window. You paid 28 million for him. No way. When finances improve and he's well revered in Italy, you can get more money for him in Italy. You get 20 million for him in Italy. So you're giving up 11 million pounds because you want to do a sale. You're not going to do anything with the money. Are you going to buy another player with that 9 million? That 9 million is not coming into the summer. It may even be a stratified payment where it's not being paid in full. There's no way I'd sell in that window. Not smart business. I understand what you're saying about Torreira. He's not getting playing time. You're not showcasing him to then therefore be able to have him being viewed by potential purchasers. At the same time, why would you sell an asset at what? At 30% of what you bought it for? 35% of what you bought it for? I wouldn't do that.
And I also give you another example of poor business in this window. William Saliba.
Now, that's a strange one, actually, right? Because he's very disenchanted. He's very perturbed about how he's been treated. Now, Arteta is coming from the Pep school, which is, look up John Stone, for example. I think people need to look at and use analogies in terms of when I look at players and how our managers operate and who are their teachers and who are their mentors and who are their sort of sponsors, then that gives you a perspective in terms of how they think. He respects how Guardiola can be in terms of how draconian he can be in his decision-making, right? He thinks he's ruthless, and he values that. That's one way to go, but he doesn't have Guardiola's resume to be that way. But that's why he was with Guendouzi. And he's been that way with all these players he has gotten rid of, and also with Ozil. He's adopted Guardiola's method of how he engages players and treat players. I think sentiment saying that we got rid of 200 million assets in self-sustaining business. Yes, but they weren't assets, they were liabilities. They were eating up wages and they weren't contributing to the bottom line. So you had to get rid of them. But you couldn't sell them on for a fee and they all come into the last year of their contract. You're cutting your losses, basically. They go for free in the summer. You can't extend them because Mustafi didn't want to extend because they want to extend him so he can have a sell on. He can be something, they could get something for him. That's not happening. So you do have to really think about the finances. But I would agree, Saliba's situation is strange. He went to Nice. I think he got some laudatory comments. When was it? The last game he played last weekend, maybe the weekend before last, about how well he's played for Nice. His first game was tough. His last two games he did very, very well. He was better rated than Fofana, who was doing really well at Leicester. So I'm not sure what happened there. I know he had some situation, some family, some personal situation, which was very difficult for him. But Arteta has seen him play and say he's not ready. But then Arteta has seen William play and say he's ready, and we can't see it. So who knows? Not sure how these decisions are made.
He's lost it. I'm not telling you. Arteta frustrates me.
So Sentiment say he gave Tony. Sentiment is. I have a comment there for you, Tony.
Yeah. So he's giving this window a 4 out of 10 based on the last few comments that I just made. So are you still staying with a B+ or?
Oh yeah. No. I'm big into finance. Money makes the girl go round. Money makes my football team go round.
Okay,
£600,000 a week off my books is almost transfer money for one player. What does that translate to? Well, we have 6 months left, say 24. You're talking about maybe you can buy a player with that money. You can buy Sanson or the Villa with that money.
Yeah,
you can buy a player, a good French player with that money. Why would I keep them?
Apollo says, I think it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. I'm actually surprised they were able to get rid of all their players who were sucking up their wage bill. £16.3 million is being saved. It's a miracle.
Good.
So yeah, I mean, look, you're absolutely right on the financial side of things. The fact that this group of people at Arsenal have now been in their jobs at least a year, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere close to being in that position that we were told we would be in, where we would sell players if they didn't re-sign within 2 years of their end of contract. That situation is going to come again this summer, when we could be looking at Lacazette, Nketiah, Chambers, El Neni, all saying, well, you know what, I ain't signing another deal. And if you can't get rid of me, I'm just going to see out my contract for another year. And then we'll be in that same situation of seeing another £60 million worth of players just walk out the door the following summer. I
think these are different, though. I think these are different. So let's take them individually.
Why?
Lacazette, they want to see him produce before offering him a contract because he wants to stay. He wants to stay, and he said he wants to stay. So they're saying, look, your goal return doesn't marry with your compensation. You need to produce and show me you'll work the money for me to get your contract. He's going to want a big contract. He's going to want between $160,000 and $200,000 a week. Is he worth it?
Hell no.
Exactly. That's why they want to sign him. They probably should try to sell him, but again, this window doesn't allow you to sell because you're going to get nothing for him, basically.
So this is my point. We're going to be facing that exact.
Yeah. So, but Tony, think about it this way. Tony, think about it this way. So, guys, think about the pandemic situation. Think about the big spenders. Barcelona, who is basically bankrupt, but they're not bankrupt because they have potential to generate commercial revenue when things get better. Yeah. Real Madrid, $900 million in debt. They came by. Real Madrid has not been buying. Juventus, who was playing people like Callum Chambers, £400,000 a week, can't buy anyone. They're not buying anyone. They couldn't buy a war. They wanted him, right? And they've gotten some. They're the masters of the free purchases, overpaying on wages, don't have the income to sustain it. So all this big Man U is not spending a lot of money. Man U bought Fernandes last year for $60 million in the January transfer window. They haven't spent. How much did they spend in this transfer window? They're not spending any money.
Yeah.
Liverpool is spending $2 million to buy a centre back, and they're desperate for one.
Yeah.
So guys, we have to be realistic to say this. Look, there's no money to spend. I can't spend what I don't have. It's like somebody you try to, I'm going to go and spend money. There's no money in the bank to spend it. You have an overdraft. You can't get overdraft. You're not in the overdraft business. You don't have money to spend. So what we're trying to do is reduce our liabilities, reduce our debt, so we can have more money to spend come summer, or at least be able to break even, because our owner is having problems too. He's a $5 billion stadium that he has in Las Vegas, which no people are attending. He's not making any concession stands. He's not making anything at the gates. He has other bills that he has to pay. It's a tough environment. So we shouldn't be, we should, you know what, we should say, you know what, we've made progress. We have 6-7 games in a row that we haven't lost in the league. And we can see things looking more positive going forward. And hopefully it stays the same way. And we got Odegaard in. I think that's a genius move to get Odegaard in, frankly. I think he says something about Arteta and his ability to speak multiple languages so he can communicate with individuals. Either Odegaard speaks English. But if you talk to William, he came because Arteta. Talk to Odegaard, he came because Odegaard is not like getting paid more money than he was. But William, we can see what, you know what, the money drove him here. But Odegaard, why would he come to Arsenal when Spurs also wanted him and he chose us when Spurs are ahead of us in the league?
Because Spurs are in Arsenal's shadow.
Well, I mean, no one to play for Marino either, right? Nobody wants to play for a coach who parks the bus, frankly, and who likes to criticize his players out in public. I mean, I wouldn't want to play for a manager like that, frankly.
So I'm going to give you my grading. My grading is a middle of the road C. Like
why? You got to explain why.
Yeah, so I will. I don't believe this is in any way getting better for Arsenal. I think it's one of them where you go, great that we've got rid of a load of deadwood. Bad that we're in such a bad position financially as a team that many years ago we left our spiritual home in Highbury to move to the Emirates to be able to compete with the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern Munich. And quite frankly, it's been an absolute nightmare. Now
so I'm gonna cut you off, Tony. No, wait. You're judging this window. You're judging the window. You judge the window. Judge the window. Don't judge history. Judge the window.
Hang on. Context. So, I know it's not Mikel Arteta's fault. I know it's not Edu's fault. But we in the last 3 years have seen Raul Sinlehi. We have seen all these guys come into the club and promise to change the ethos of the club. We've seen a new manager come in. We've seen him fall on his face. Yeah, we've seen another manager take up the reins as a temporary job, fall on his face. And now we got this new regime. And what is there to make me feel optimistic? We have some very good youngsters coming through, but we also have some very good youngsters who are lost. We have a lost generation at Arsenal. I'm going to tell you, William Saliba, lost. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, lost. Reece Nelson, lost. I'm not going to put Joe Willock in that. I don't believe he's lost. I think he's going about steadily in a good way. But, you know, we've got players. Guendouzi, lost. I mean, people were saying that Matthew Guendouzi a year ago was our most exciting, most potentially best player. And where is he now? He's lost. So as much as I think that we've done great in getting rid of dead wood, I also think we have created this lost generation of players. You know, your Eddie and Nketiah just not good enough. Lost as far as I'm concerned.
But that's not a transfer winner, Tony.
Hang on. We're about to lose following Balogun. Lost. He's teetering on the edge. And so for that, having that in you know, on the Arteta watch, under the Edu watch, to see us in a situation we have lost a group of players who, let's be honest, could walk into another Premier League team. And we're watching that. We're watching Willett go in and walk into another team. We're watching Maitland-Niles walk into another team. Saliba, I am absolutely certain, could walk into another Premier League team. Guendouzi definitely could walk into another Premier League team. Yeah? So, thank God for Saka. Thank God for Smith Rowe. Thank God for Martinelli. But is that enough to be able to say that this transfer window addresses my personal thoughts and feelings about the direction of the club? This window addressed some of the issues, definitely. Big plus for Odegaard, so long as he hopefully does what we hope he does. But that apart, we've got a mediocre goalkeeper. I'm not too fazed by Matt Ryan. He fills a hole, yeah, but am I blowing trumpets? No.
So Rome was built in a day. It's a long-term strategy.
We ain't even building Rome.
You ever heard this concept? Wait, you ever heard this
We're
concept?
not building Rome.
Wait. But listen to me.
Colosseum, bro.
I'm gonna explain to you. So here's the concept, which is there's a strategy you employ in business, which is kill the company. Right? You kill the company. I mean, you have a company, and you figure out what can I do to destroy this company. With a mindset, you can put a strategy in place to prevent your company from being killed. So you engage people, maybe consultants, say, tell me how you can destroy this company, and go ahead and show me you can kill this company. That's what Arteta is doing with Arsenal, which is we have made the Champions League in 4 seasons. He has to kill the company and recreate the company to get us back to where we think we should belong. And that's what they're doing. They're killing the company, which is I'm getting rid of what I have. I'm changing attitude, culture, mindset, how we operate. And I'm going to instill and put in place a whole different construct about how we operate going forward and build a sustainable model with quality players to achieve our goals. And wait. I'm going to fill some gaps in the immediate time, but I'm also going to supplement that with quality. Now, Tony, you mentioned 3 players. Should 4, actually, because add Tierney to the mix. You mentioned 4 young players on a team. So show me another Premier League team who is top 6, who can show me 4 quality, homegrown, young players who are starters in their team. The floor is yours.
Man City.
Which 4 homegrown players are starters in their team? Who are young players, not people like Sterling, who are solid, well-established players, young players who are just start. Saka 1 year in, a year and a half in, Tierney a year and a half in.
You see, I was about to name 4 players, but then you moved the goalpost.
No. Yeah. I said no. Not established players.
I was about
Young.
to give you 4 homegrown players.
No. Don't tell me Stone with 50-something million for Stone, 50+ million for Sterling. No, that's not homegrown talent for your academy, or who just bought for not significant price. Give me a Man U, Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool. Tell me the 4 Liverpool. Who's the 4? Bid players. Jones, bid player. All bid players.
You see, you keep moving the goalpost.
But I'm saying they're not. Alexander, established player, been there for 4 years, started for 4 years, won Champions League. So was Robertson. Tell me 4 players who have been there for a year and a half, 2 years, in the team starting, young, under 22, under 23, who you can say, you know what? Yeah, Arsenal hasn't done well in this department. None.
You can't. You can't. Listen,
I can, but
there isn't anybody.
All right, and that doesn't include Willock and Reece Nelson and Ketia. It does include them.
You're not letting me go with Liverpool. I've got 4 players.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're moving the goalpost, so I can't have Trent Alexander, so I can't have Robertson, so I can't have Jones, so I can't have the striker that what's his name that just got loaned out.
Who, Brewster? Got sold. He got sold. They sold him. Sold him. You sold him. And he just scored a goal for Sheffield in 100 years. I'm sorry. He hasn't done anything. He sold for almost £30 million and did nothing. No, I'm telling you, we have done well. The strategy we're employing, I'm very happy with. Look, I see the big picture. I see the big picture for Edu and for Arteta. I see the big picture.
Really?
And at some point, 2 years from now, you're going to say, you know what, Bertram, you're right.
I hope you're right, Bertram.
No, I see the big picture.
I hope you're right. Listen, we're Arsenal fans. We're always optimistic. Always.
Yes.
Yeah? I'm going to give you another lost player. Danny Ceballos.
He's not us. He's Real Madrid.
Yeah, he knows the way.
We're sending him back home.
That's home, man. Get on the road. What you mean?
Hey, the bus is warming up.
Yeah.
The bus is warming up. He's just dragging his feet to get on the bus. The bus is warming up.
Leave him alone. He'll come good.
No, he's a good player, but he's not what we need. He's not what we need. In the summer,
he's gonna play 5 more games before the end of the season. And he's gonna be gone, and you're never gonna hear his name again.
So we've done him really well because you know what he said? He said he's learned a lot since he's been at Arsenal. He said he has learned a lot here, and we have helped Real Madrid, and they've helped us because we had another body that we could use. He's had some good games. He hasn't been terrible, but he's not what we need. We need exceptional players.
Exactly. That's
exceptional players. And we don't look, the Basumas of the world may be exceptional. There are players out there. My concern is this, because there are a lot of French players, frankly, who I see as quality players who can get for a very cheap price, especially in this market. They have no TVDs in France.
Yeah.
Why aren't you in France rating teams who are desperate for money? Even if you get a bank loan to do so, go buy this place for 40% on the dollar, or on the pound, I should say. I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
So, I mean, look, we've now come to the end of the window. The window is officially now closed.
Okay.
Our business has been done. As I said, I'm giving us a C for our transfer window. I'm an optimist. I obviously hope Arsenal can work with what we have. I hope that the squad that we have, the squad that will be named tomorrow for the Europa League, the squad that will be named for the remainder of the Premier League, will be sufficient to do a decent enough job to do two things: compete to the tail end of the Champions League and secure a top 6 place. I'm not expecting top 4, because there are teams above us who've got 2-3 games in hand.
Basically.
But if we can still, we're now out of both cups domestically, we can beat Benfica. And then it's a straight game by game knockout situation. Being out of the League Cup and the FA Cup might actually help us, because at some point we're going to need to be able to play rested players.
Mm.
And I just hope that, for the rest of the season, our dream is Europa Cup win and top 6 place in Europe, because top 6 place means that we've improved as a team. Last year we came 8th.
Yeah.
So we want to improve on that this season. Top 6 and Europa Cup, which qualifies for the Champions League. Quite honestly, we're not ready for the Champions League, but it's improvement.
Yeah. And
obviously, a cup is a cup. We take that. So that's my dream. Finish to the season. Transfer window. Does it get us closer to that? A little bit.
Maybe.
So I've always said since the start of this year that this is going to be the most difficult Premier League season ever in terms of parity, and it's turning out that way. And the reason why I said that is when I look at the teams, I could clearly see between the pandemic, restrictions on transfers, you can't spend a ton of money, how the teams sort of finished last year, improvements in certain teams, the lack of home crowds, a home field advantage, neutralized. We got Man U is a perfect example. We can win away from home but can't win at home. There's a lot of factors have contributed to this season being what it is. I think we'll finish anywhere from 9th to 4th, frankly. I still think top 4 is a possibility. I do believe that Arteta knows what he's doing, and Edu's coming along also. Still has some challenge with Edu, but I think Arteta knows what good look like, and actually that's coming across in terms of how he's trying to manage the team. I still think he makes decisions which I sometimes find interesting, whether it's Guendouzi, William, and or Saliba, meaning the favoritism with William, the hypocritical behavior between Guendouzi and William. William went away to the Middle East and came back and didn't get punished, but Guendouzi gets sent to Siberia, frankly. So you do have to be careful as a manager in terms of you seem to be objective and not treating people based on whether or not you buy them or you didn't buy them, right? So that's interesting. But I do think that the team has improved in terms of their performance. Now, I would say this about our improvement in terms of performance. We did draw with Man U, but we weren't playing some of the best teams the last 5 or 6 games before Man U. So now the schedule is going to get a little bit tougher between us playing Villa, Man City, all those teams. So we'll see how well we are progressing given the upcoming games that we have, it's going to be tough. And also, is our squad big enough with enough quality to withstand playing 2-3 times a week in this environment? That's going to also challenge our players. But some players have had rest, right? Aubameyang has been resting, even though it's been personal situation. He's not been playing. Tierney has been resting because he's been injured. Saka was out for a game. So you're seeing Odegaard is still new to us, hasn't been playing at Real Madrid. There are players who have not played a ton. And even our defense, apart from maybe Bellerin, most of them have rotated, given that they've been out with injuries throughout the year. So we may be in a good position with people returning from injuries or not being overworked to this part of the season. So that should help us compared to some other teams. But my hope is that we'll get it together. Europa League, I think, is going to be tough. You know, beat Benfica. The teams in there like Man U and those teams are going to be very, very difficult to beat down the road and make it tough. But I do want us to try the top 4 in the league, not necessarily trying to go the Europa League route, which I think is just as difficult as trying to make it in the league. Because the league is going to keep on knocking off each other. There is no easy games with the top 11, 12 teams, frankly. The scores may not indicate that. But if you see West Brom drawing with Liverpool and drawing with Man City, it tells you how tough things are. And then next day you see them getting 5-6 from those teams. So my hope is that we will stabilize. Now we're in a position where we've gotten rid of some people who were not adding, they were subtracting, right? The Ozil drama was just not helping the team. Now you can be out of the news. You want to be under the radar. You don't want to be in the news every day about who you're playing or who you're not playing. And you want players who are going to buy into your system. And older players, I know because I was an older player, after a while you just want to play. You don't care what the manager says. You're going to cause disruption because you want to play and you're trying to think about your own personal situation, especially when you reach 30 and you're trying to get paid your last contract. You're not trying to be part of the team. You're trying to showcase your talent so you can go someplace else or get paid by your current team. So, look, my hope is that we will do well. And look, the window is much better than people think it is. When you really break down the window strategically, it's a much better window than seem on the surface. You don't have to buy players that have a good window, you know. Subtracting is adding, and you're saving yourself money for future purchases. And your culture can now be harmonized versus being disparate. You're probably in a much better place than you would have been a couple of weeks ago. So I'm happy with what's been done. And also, most importantly, Willock and Amen is getting game time. My hope is that Nelson would have gone on loan. I think he needs it more than anybody else, frankly, than those 3. But those 2 are going out to teams who are going to play them, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And come back better players. They're going to add to the mix going forward. So we're getting younger. We're getting smarter. And hopefully we get better.
Thank you, Bertram. Neomis, what's your final say on the subject?
I am happy with the window overall. I think it's a solid window. I think we got most of everything that we needed. For me, it was just really another left back that I felt that we truly needed. But I think that's probably the best that we could do. We got rid of a lot of players, even though I felt that maybe we could have sold them. But, you know, it is what it is. You just have to hope for the second half of the season, Arsenal start to put some type of consistency together. I think it's our biggest fault. And for me, it's probably part of the reason why I don't think that we will get top 4. But I do think that we're going to be close. I think that for the rest of the season, we're going to flirt with the idea of top 4. But I don't think that winning the Europa League is too far-fetched. I think that we do have an opportunity there. But I just feel that as the season goes on, particularly if we are consistent from now up until March, or up until the beginning of April, and we beat the teams we're supposed to beat, and we pull off draws against some of the more tougher teams, or maybe scrape some draws from April to the end of the season, we've basically got an easy run in, except for Chelsea. And we just have to see what we're able to do. But I think it's a good window, and I just got to hope and believe that Arsenal are able to pull it out at the end.
Ebony.
With regards to the window, I'm glad that we got rid of the deadwood. They've needed to be gone for quite a while. like Naomi said, it would have been great if we signed a left back. It wasn't to be. So from here on in until the summer's transfer window, where we've got more of a chance to buy players potentially, we have to make do with the squad that we've got. Fair enough, we don't have the greatest depth in squad, but at the end of the day, I think, and I'm always optimistic enough to say that we have a team that's good enough, to beat the best teams in the league. I mean, before we beat Chelsea, everybody was down, including myself, saying that we were going to lose. But then, ever since that Chelsea game, we've actually grown stronger and stronger. Back to the transfer window, I think, like I gave it a C, because we did well to get rid of what we didn't need anymore. We got a goalkeeper, we got Odegaard. So I'm glad at least we can say that we've got some players coming in. But then my only concern is that this transfer window means that potentially we could have actually sold some of these players, but we've allowed either their contracts to be terminated, and as with the other players that are running down their contracts, they could go for free. But yeah, I'm happy with it, and all I can say is that from here on in, it can only get better. But yeah, as for the transfer window, I'm glad that we got rid of the players that we needed to get rid of, and it's just a case of having to get rid of Xhaka. But yeah, I'm happy.
Hey, Tony, by the way, Tony, it cannot be a C when you got rid of Mustafi. It cannot be a C. You get rid of Mustafi.
It can be a C because you kept Xhaka.
Exactly.
Touche,
To be Xhaka, I'm not anti-Xhaka. I'm not anti-Xhaka. I'm not anti-Xhaka. I am not anti-Xhaka because he's been playing well. You gotta talk to Aubameyang. You gotta talk to Apollo about that. Because he gave Xhaka a 4 the last game. The last game he gave Xhaka a 4, and I'm thinking, how can Partey get a bit greater than Xhaka? Partey was horrible.
Oh dear! Listen, Ebony and I, we both gave the window a C. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we both know how we feel about Granit Xhaka. So that says all we need to know.
Well, I gave A+ to get rid of Mustafi. It's an A+, so it balanced out to my B+. Mustafi going is a good thing. Mustafi going is a good thing.
Actually, the other thing I want to say about the window, though, is that, as I said before, I'm not happy about A&M going to West Brom, because we could have actually, for the remaining months of this season, we could do with him if potential injuries occur. So, but we've got to do.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite, actually. I want to go for 2 reasons. One is I want the player to think that he has a chance to go play for England. That's important for the player and for us in terms of his value. But most importantly, he wants to play midfield. And we need somebody to replace Xhaka. Let him go show whether or not he can be that replacement. Go show if you can be that replacement for Xhaka, because we need someone to replace Xhaka. And it will save us some money.
Well, potentially, A&M, if when he is playing for Wolves, he can come back to Arsenal and replace Xhaka, and Xhaka Xhaka's backside. West Brom, sorry. And hopefully, he can come back and Xhaka's backside is on the bench. No, sorry, not even on the bench, at home. So,
Yeah, I'm not anti-Xhaka. I can talk. Look, I wasn't in the stadium when he cursed, so I was far away. On the I didn't take it personal. He wasn't pointing at me. He wasn't pointing at me because I wasn't booing him. He wasn't pointing at me, so I'm not upset. Apollo he was pointing to Apollo. He was pointing.
No, but the thing is, though, I'm not even. You know what? I've actually gone past the fact that he's sworn at the players. I'm actually talking about him as a player.
No, I agree with you. He's not the solution, but I'm not. Yeah. I think he's had okay. He's been okay this season. He's been okay. He hasn't been. He's not tearing up trees, but
played well.
Yeah, he's
He's
okay.
actually-
He's not. He's playing with more
Yeah.
confidence. He's playing like he plays for Switzerland because he plays well for Switzerland, frankly, and he's their captain. He's getting more comfortable. Arteta trusts him, just like Emery did, just like Wenger did, by the way. I know Paulo will then say, "Well, we haven't won anything." Well, it's not. He's the only one been here. We haven't won anything. So is all the other players. So look, and he's won FA Cups, by the way. So let's not say he has won anything. He's won. You know, he's been an FA Cup squad. He's been a starter. So look, let's not knock Jack. We should support all our players. Now I can support all the players. Now my favorite players left. I can support all the players.
God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end. It's 11:20.
boy.
He must be absolutely working on fumes right now. It's 3:00.
Yeah. Oh.
So
No, it's 6:00 here. I'm behind you
Yeah.
guys. I'm
5
behind you.
hours.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my day's just finished. My work day just finished, and
Yeah.
it's time to go relax and chow down. Yeah, so I'm
Well,
good.
see,
You guys are.
it's 11:20 here, so we're gonna call that a night, guys. And
Yep.
hope you all enjoyed the show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for West Brom.
What
Yeah,
time's
I won't be
it?
able to make them. I'll be working, so
Yeah.
I'll be getting the scores, but I won't be able to join tomorrow.
Wolves.
Yes, and hopefully the Wolves play like they've been
Not
playing.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolves, sorry.
Hopefully the
Not
Wolves
bad.
play like they've been playing because I don't want to. They always turn up for us. By the way, we haven't beaten them in a while.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
We didn't
I
beat
had
them
this-
early in the season, right? They
We
beat
will
us
beat
last
them
time.
tomorrow. We'll beat
I
them
hope so.
tomorrow.
This mad feeling that I had to work out all today. I kept thinking to myself, who's all the teams I've ever been to in the Midlands? And I was trying to think of the names of all the grounds. You know, it's such a hive of activity. You got Villa Park, St Andrews, Molyneux, all these grounds.
Hawthorns. Is it the Hawthorns?
Hawthorns.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, the Midlands is really a hotbed, isn't it, of football? And then just south of it, you've got Coventry, and so there's Northampton Town. It's like, wow. And I've had some great years in the Midlands, so I've really enjoyed my times going up there. And I hope that tomorrow we can have another one of those enjoyable trips up to the Midlands. So,
We can.
Allez Le Rouge, let's go Arsenal.
All right.
Have a
Yes,
great
indeed.
evening, guys.
Same
See
to
you
you
later,
guys.
guys.
Take care.
See you
See you
tomorrow.
guys.
Take care, Apollo.
Much love, Apollo. See you later.